lolu phaphe luzokufikela kuShaka.
Kungedala sobe siphezu kwabo.
Kungenzeka ukuba lapha singena ugibeni.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ASR, African Stories Realized. This is our review of Shaka iLembe Season 2, Episode 12, the finale. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Episode 12 picks up in Gudunkomo with Queen Ntombazi enchanting the feather she got from her granddaughter to make Zwide a protection spell, insisting that as long as Zwide had it with him, it would keep him safe against the Zulu. Then Ndwandwe began their march to KwaNobamba, with even Skunyana eager to avenge his brothers in battle. However, Ntombazana confessed to her uncle Goloza that the feather she gave to Queen Ntombazi for Zwide's protection spell had no connection to Shaka at all, and was rather just an ordinary feather. Goloza then looked into the future, and after seeing a premonition, he ordered Ntombazana to take his wife and kids and leave Gudunkomo immediately. Meanwhile, in KwaNobamba, Shaka and his generals devised a plan for the approaching Ndwandwe army. Some of his generals suggested that they take the fight to Zwide and their men, but Shaka suggested a more patient approach that would test the Ndwandwe army's endurance. Shaka ordered all the women and children to go into hiding, while his mother and grandmother made their way to the newly built royal palace, KwaBulawayo. Shaka's army also retreated into the Nganda forest, leaving KwaNobamba abandoned. Zwide and his men arrived in KwaNobamba after a long march to find that there was nothing for his hungry army to raid. No people, no livestock, and not a single grain of wheat left. Noluja suggested that the Zulu must be hiding in the forest, and after wandering for more miles, they finally spotted some Zulu cattle. Soshangane took some of his men with him to check out the forest, where he was confronted by Mzilikazi and his men. The two friends clashed, but were reluctant to spill each other's blood, with Mzilikazi ultimately sparing Soshangane, advising him to save himself because he'll never get the respect he deserves from Zwide. Soshangane then returned to the Ndwandwe camp, revealing that the Zulu were indeed hiding in the forest. Zwide ordered Soshangane to burn the forest and kill any Zulu warrior who tried to escape their fire trap. But after lighting it up and waiting for some time, no one came out of the forest. Shaka and his men instead launched an attack from the other direction, trapping the Ndwandwe between the Mhlatuze river and the burning forest, leaving them no choice but to fight their way out. Shaka went straight for Zwide, with the two men exchanging blows, and just as Shaka was about to finish him off, Skunyana rescued his father. Shaka was then forced to help his friend, giving Skunyana the opportunity to force a retreat with a few men after knocking out Zwide. The rest of the Ndwandwe army had fled or was slaughtered at Mhlatuze as the Zulu marched on to Gudunkomo. Ntombazi and Goloza had already accepted their fate, with Goloza revealing that he saw their demise in his vision. Ntombazi then gave Goloza some poison and comforted him as the life left his body. Ntombazi, however, did not take her own life. Instead, she confronted the Zulu army, who immediately took her captive. An angry Shaka ordered her execution, and they stripped her of her jewelry before burning her alive in a hut with her hyenas. Shaka and his men then set the rest of the Ndwandwe capital on fire before leaving it to burn. Zwide and Skunyana watched on as Gudunkomo burned from afar, with Skunyana suggesting they flee to Ngwane and seek refuge with King Somtholo. But Zwide was too proud to submit to the Ngwane king, giving Skunyana his blessing to go to Ngwane and return with Mhlatuze so they can rebuild the Ndwandwe. Skunyana arrived in Ngwane and requested protection for the Ndwandwe. However, Somtholo feared retaliation from Shaka, insisting that they did not want to become an enemy of the Zulu. Skunyana then expressed his desire to step in for his brother and take care of his widow, but lamented that he had nothing to offer her, instead opting to set her free. However, Mhlatuze decided that she wanted to be with Skunyana and return with him to Ndwandwe as her family gave them their blessing. Zwide then encountered Soshangane, admitting to his general that they would have avoided defeat if Zwide had taken his counsel. Soshangane then attacked Zwide, threatening to kill him, but instead he decided to spare the fallen Ndwandwe king, who was begging to die, revealing that he loved him more than any of his sons before leaving with many of Zwide's men who chose to follow Soshangane. The episode ends at KwaBulawayo, the new Zulu capital, where a ceremony for the ages took place, with Shaka celebrating his victory over the Ndwandwe and the unity of all the clans under the Zulu kingdom. It's a wrap for season 2, and I must say that finale flew by. While a bit anticlimactic, I did enjoy it. In comparison, I don't think it's better than the season 1 finale or even last week's episode, which I praised as the best of the season. I know that some people were expecting Zwide to die today, but most historical accounts do support Zwide surviving the Battle of Mhlatuze and going on to live for at least another 5 years. He never managed to re-establish the Ndwandwe kingdom, but after Zwide's death, his son Skwinyana attempted to reclaim the Ndwandwe kingdom, but was defeated by the Zulu in 1826. I'm guessing that the start of season 3 will give us some of that storyline as Shaka's reign leads to the scattering of tribes in what was known as the Difekane or Mfekane. It is said that the Mfekane started as a period of hunger and famine, much like at the beginning of season 1 when there was a drought. Shaka's rise ultimately forced many tribes to leave their homes, but some also left in search of better lives for their people. And I think the show did very well to show how everybody started scattering and how everybody started going in a different direction. Even King Somhlolo did not want to face the retaliation of Shaka. The episode was very true to the source material, with many of the events being strongly backed by historical accounts. Much like in the show, Zwide's mother was captured and executed by Shaka's forces, being burned alive in a hut with her hyenas. But I do think they were too gentle with her. They could have at least roughed up a bit more before executing her. She can't have such a peaceful ending. I might have read another account that she was actually fed to her hyenas, but I'm not sure about that one. Ever since we lost Dingiswayo, I was looking forward to Shaka retrieving his belongings, which historically were buried because they never recovered his body. That's the side of the Dingiswayo memorial. So I was disappointed that they didn't pay that off. I don't think he got a proper tribute. It wouldn't have even taken a minute or two of screen time. Much like in the show, historical accounts support that the Ndwandwe kingdom disintegrated. Zwide's former generals, along with remnants of the clan, fled north to establish their own separate kingdoms. Two of Zwide's generals, Soshangane and Zwide, led splinter groups and created new powerful empires. Soshangane founded the Gaza Empire in modern-day Mozambique and is the forefather of the Shangane people, while Zwide fled with his own followers after the Ndwandwe defeat. He founded the Ngoni Kingdom, which eventually settled in what is now Malawi, Tanzania, and Zambia. One big loose end from this season was a colonial storyline, which was introduced then seemed to be abandoned, with no sign of Mpande since, and Nonjila failing to brief Shaka after returning from the Cape. I do think maybe some things happened off camera, and maybe Mpande is still down in the Cape with the closer people, but that's why they're loose ends. For sure they're going to pick it up next season, but I think they should have saved the introduction of the Boers and the British for later in the season and kept it short. In fact, something I overlooked when they initially introduced the British and the Boers was the mention of Piet, which was actually significant because I believe this is Piet Retief, a Boer trekker leader during the Great Trek who led his group to the Natal region. So I just wanted to give that little bit of context. I think the initial British and Boer introduction was cool. They didn't really have to give us too much. By Shaka iLembe standards, the Battle of Mhlatuze was a bit underwhelming, but I love how Shaka once again devised a plan that took a toll on the Ndwandwe, mentally and physically. I've mentioned this before, but this is why Shaka is always referenced when people talk about the art of war. The pace today didn't really give me time to take in every scene, but that's to be expected from a finale as they try to round up the storylines and set up new ones for the following season, or potential spin-offs. We've come to the end of a spectacular second season, and hopefully we don't have to wait too long for a third, which is apparently supposed to be the final season. But I think there's a lot of story to tell, and realistically the show has already laid the groundwork for it to continue beyond Shaka's death, with the potential to explore characters like Dingane, Mpande, Soshangane, and Mzilikazi. Ntombazi also survived, which means she might also show up in future seasons. It's been a long 3 months, but I really enjoyed reviewing Shaka iLembe Season 2 with you guys. Thank you to everyone for your support, feedback, and contribution to the channel. I've got some other videos coming just to round up the season, so look out for those. We'll be back next season with more reviews. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is ASR for the love of African filmmaking and storytelling.
Ukhula wena wasendulo, hey abasendulo ba nawe. Ukhula khula, ay khula wena wasendulo. abasendula yebo bana yeah khula mntwana mncane.